Hello, I Purushandar Singh welcome you all to another episode of Katsada, an initiative by Kats International. Today we have a very distinguished guest with us, Professor Harsh V. Pant. He's a professor of international relations with King's India Institute at King's College London. He is also the Vice President Studies and Foreign Policy at Observer Research Foundation, New Delhi. He is also the visiting professor at various institutes across the world. Professor Pant, I would like to humbly welcome you to Kats Adda and thank you for accepting this.
Thank you.
Going,
Thank you for having me.
going further, with the new Conservative Party leader, Liz Truss, who has come into the power and now as the new Prime Minister, how do you see the relationship evolving between India and the Britain? And what could be the geopolitically relevant areas of cooperation between the two nations?
India and the UK relations have moved to a point today where they are at an important inflection point, where personalities are becoming less relevant because there is a unique convergence in the worldviews of India and the UK, which was not found before. So there were always challenges, challenges pertaining to India's suspicions about Pakistan's support for Pakistan, UK support for Pakistan, UK's close ties with China. There were issues around immigration and human resources that had always been part of it. And then there have been, UK's losing global profile, in terms of post-Brexit. But what has happened ironically post-Brexit is that UK is today looking at a new relationship with the global order. UK wants a new foreign, is trying to establish its credentials as a global player beyond the European Union framework. And that means that it has to integrate more with emerging economies, emerging powers like India. And India too is looking at countries that can engage with the wider Indo-Pacific in more substantive ways. So European Union's presence, UK's presence in the Indo-Pacific is a welcome move. That is a change from India's past position, where it used to be suspicious of Western presence in the Indian Ocean. So we are looking at at a change in the worldviews of these two countries, and that means that unique convergence that is coming, where Britain and larger West is more suspicious of China than they have ever been in decades, where they want to build ties. UK wants to build ties with India, including trade ties, which have been rather difficult, in the past, is a welcome change. So what we are now witnessing is that on the one hand, we are looking at UK and India developing a close strategic partnership, defense partnership in the Indo-Pacific, in the maritime domain. We are also, on the other hand, talking of a free trade agreement being finalized around Diwali, which may or may not happen, but some kind of an early harvest agreement is being talked about, which is going to be a welcome change, because I think both India and the UK need this kind of a trade deal to establish their credentials as trading partners for the rest of the world. And I think moving beyond that, of course, India and UK have always had a strong people-to-people connect, which is going to be strengthened in the future as more students go there. India this year has replaced China as the country that sends the largest number of students to India. This is again a welcome change, because the UK is now very closely monitoring who comes from China to study, whereas India, being a liberal democracy, there are the constraints that apply to China do not apply. So I think there is going to be a new buoyancy in the relationship that we are going to see. And coming of Liz Truss is good news, because she had been a part of this endeavor as foreign secretary for the last few years under Boris Johnson, and she is very gung-ho about India-UK relationship. So I think moving beyond personalities, this relationship has reached a point where perhaps we are going to look at greater convergence, and therefore a greater, more productive India-UK relationship in the coming years, as both India and the UK recalibrate their foreign policies in light of the tremendous changes that are happening in the geopolitical and geoeconomic order in the world.
Right, Professor Pant. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. It's good news coming, and Diwali is around the corner. So both ways, it's happy news for India and UK relations. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you viewers. Stay tuned for more such videos on Katsada.